executives of the municipality come out and say, no, there's a 2 billion rand missing in revenue. Now, if there's 2 billion missing in revenue, who then gets to account for that? It should be those in finance. It should be those who are supposed to collect revenue on behalf of the municipality. I don't get to see that, no, man, there is no missing 2 billion. There's a revenue shortfall in Ekurhuleni, but it's not 2 billion. And this guy is not responsible for it because he's essentially he's the whistleblower. And I mean, there's affidavits that are there. There's dog heads that are sitting with the hawks. The junior staff who've come out doing affidavits and legally following the process, opening up criminal cases. But those things are quiet about. Some of us are from Ekurhuleni. I grew up in Ekurhuleni. And we can't allow our city to go down the drain like that. Because these people are going to retire very soon. And we are going to inherit a municipality that is broken.
Yes.
That is not working, that is dilapidated. And we are going to have to pick up the pieces of something that we didn't break.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lebohang Mujapilu, your host for today. Welcome to the EFF podcast. We have a special guest with us here today. We have investigative journalist and co-founder of the Inside Factor, Mudibe Mudiba. We're excited to have him here because we have a very sad story that we need to unpack, which is the death of forensic auditor Mpho Mafole, who passed away earlier this year. He was working for the city of Ekurhuleni as an auditor, and he was assassinated from what we can tell. There have been arrests around his death, but we need to find out what happened, what led to his death, and where we stand. And this is particularly important because of other deaths of employees of the city, of the state, after they discover certain things or working within forensic auditing and accounting that are taking place. And we must be able to relate this, I think, entirely to the corruption that is taking place in our government institutions. Welcome. So let's just get into it immediately. Please give us a background into the matter of the auditor Mpho Mafole, who was shot and killed earlier this year. What were the circumstances around his death, according to your own investigations, and what was he investigating or working on?
Look, I think the story of Ekurhuleni and the corruption that we're investigating did not necessarily start with Mpho. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. The corruption in Ekurhuleni starts when the CIO of the city gets to unravel corruption that's happening within the city, you know. He then gets to be suspended from the city because of a 2 billion missing revenue that they say, no, the CIO, I think the guy's name is Moloko Munyapao. So Moloko Munyapao is the CIO of the Ekurhuleni municipality, which is the chief information officer. You know, he gets to unravel certain things that are happening within the municipality, investigates that, gets his employees, his junior employees to open up.
So the investigation, just to take you back a little bit so that we can go together.
Okay.
The investigation is of 2 billion rand missing. Is this in the entire city collective or is specific departments? Like what happens?
No, the 2 billion missing in Ekurhuleni, it's a myth. It's a myth that was created by the executive of the city of Ekurhuleni to get rid of the CIO.
Oh,
yes. So
interesting.
Now,
So I should follow you. Yes, let's go.
Then what happens is that the CEO then gets to unravel corruption that does happen in Ekurhuleni, but that does not relate to 2 billion rand.
All right.
Yeah, they say no. So the executives of the municipality come out and say, no, there's a 2 billion rand missing in revenue. Now, if there's 2 billion missing in revenue, who then gets to account for that? It should be those in finance. It should be those who are supposed to collect revenue on behalf of the municipality. Now, the CIO, who's a black professional who grew up in the Ekurhuleni, now gets to be the face of this corruption. You know, he gets to be slandered on white mainstream media. He gets to be seen as this corrupt individual who stole 2 billion rand, you know. Now, he gets to be suspended. I think his matter is still in the courts. It's still ongoing. But essentially, he gets to be the face of corruption of Ekurhuleni. Now, I first get to hear from councillors of the city, from numerous councillors, EFF councillors, ANC councillors, Action SA councillors, you know, who come and say, Chief, there's this thing, just look into it. I then start probing around at the city. I then get the CIO's number who gets suspended. You know, I call the guy, Chief, can we meet? Apparently there's this. The guy gives me a very clear instruction. I don't want to talk to the media. Once I do that, I'm going to be suspended. No, I'm suspended already, but once I talk to the media, I'm getting fired.
Yeah, like
so,
it's
this is matter of life and death. But I can point in the right direction. But I'm like, no, I want to talk to you. You are the face of this corruption. Let's meet. The guy says no. That's fine. I start doing my own probing in the city, you know. And I must thank a lot of councillors of the city and a lot of executives of the city who worked in audits, who work in finance, who come out and say, well, there's this thing, but it can't be seen from coming from me. And that's good. I don't get to see that, no, man, there is no missing 2 billion. There's a revenue shortfall in Ekurhuleni, but it's not 2 billion. And this guy is not responsible for it because he's essentially he's the whistleblower. And I mean, there's affidavits that are there. There's dogheads that are sitting with the hawks. The junior staff who've come out doing affidavits and legally following the process, opening up criminal cases. But those things are quiet about. And then the CIO gets to be made the face of this. Now that's fine. The CEO then eventually agrees to meet, to say, no, Chief, let's meet. That's after he gets suspended, you know. He then walks me through what has happened, you know. And I said, wow, this is really deep. This is really deep, and it's now becoming dangerous for me as well, for you as well as the CIO, and for those who want to speak about this corruption from the city.
All right. So the 2 billion rand is used against the CIO.
Yes, to essentially get rid of him.
To get rid of him.
Yeah.
However, within the city of Ekurhuleni, there have been cases going on.
Yes.
That had already been sitting in the hall with the hawks.
Yes.
And you said there were affidavits and there were people who had already spoken out about corruption happening within.
Yes.
So according to the CIO, this was used to get rid of him because he was investigating, or because they needed a scapegoat?
No, essentially, I think he's been made as the scapegoat.
All right.
I think there was an article by City Press, which was on the News 24 platform, which essentially says that the CIO of Ekurhuleni has been used as a scapegoat for this whole thing. But he's the whistleblower.
Yes.
Because he unravels this corruption, he presents it to the executive to say there is no such a thing. Yes, we do have a revenue shortfall. It's because of 1, 2, and 3, and it's because of clearing of rates. So what they do is that you've got a business in Ekurhuleni, you've not been paying your rates, you owe the city, let's say 500,000, and I come to say, no, Chief, give me 200. I can fix this thing for you. I'll fix it for you. Yeah. So essentially now it piles up. And because the CIO is very good, he's an IT guy, he then gets to pick up, there's something's not happening here.
Yes.
And essentially he touches on the nerves of politicians, top politicians who are benefiting from this corruption. And they say, no, we have to have a scapegoat.
Do we have names?
Look, I've been to court 1 or 2 times.
And it's enough.
Yes, look, I don't want to go back to those things.
That's all right.
But soon I am going to, I think it's a matter of life and death. I mean, some of us are from Ekurhuleni. I grew up in Ekurhuleni. And we can't allow our city to go down the drain like that. Because these people are going to retire very soon. And we are going to inherit a municipality that is broken.
Yes.
That is not working, that is dilapidated. And we are going to have to pick up the pieces of something that we didn't break.
Okay. So you have a vested interest in what is happening in the city.
And I think for the first time with this story, I think I've released many stories of corruption. Nakamudiri, city of Matlosane. But with Ekurhuleni, it hits home, because I was born there, I was raised there, I've got friends and family who live there, So I can't allow that city to go down the drain.
Okay, so they are stealing, they are using the debts that big people, big companies have and cutting them a deal.
Yes.
And then that's happening. Okay, so the CIO gets suspended. How do we get to Mpho Mafole?
Okay, so right after Mpho's death, the executives of Ekurhuleni are outside Mpho's home. No, we know why Mpho was killed. Oh, Chief, the police have not even done their investigation.
This is he was murdered. It was early July, end of June.
Yeah.
And he was shot
in Kempton Park.
Directly at his vehicle. They found his body with his seatbelt still on.
Yeah.
So it was obviously a hit.
No, it was definitely a hit. Because I'll tell you why. Mpho was investigating corruption at the city, which amount to 1.8 billion of chemical toilets in the city of Ekurhuleni. Does the forensic report, hands it to his boss to say, Chief, there's this corruption, procurement, irregularities, here it is. He then gets told to say, Chief, you must go back and you must find a way to make this report work. Before he was killed, Mpho was told to change his report. People are not talking about that. Mpho refused to change his report. He then gives it to his boss. He said, I'm not going to change this report. And I'm not going to have my signature on the report that I can't account for. Now, their bosses then whitewashed the report to make it seem as if no, there was no irregularities that happened. Council, you can confirm and you can approve this thing, you know? Now, the funny thing is that after he gets killed, the executives of the city are the first ones in Mpho's home and are speaking to the nation and are speaking to Mpho's family to say that we know why Mpho was killed. How? The police have not said anything. There's no investigation that has been done. Executives, politicians,
already know.
but politicians say we know who killed Mpho.
Wow.
Okay, who killed Mpho? No, Mpho was killed because I was investigating 2 billion. Now, if you say Mpho was investigating 2 billion, you're saying that Mpho was killed by the CIO.
Because now you're connecting it to the other scapegoat of 2 billion.
Now I'm like, now this is becoming too deep. Now
it's too clean.
It's too clean.
Yes,
now something is happening now. And don't forget, now you're putting the life of the CEO at risk.
Yes.
You say, now this guy killed this to kill this auditor. And now that narrative continues to say, no, Mpho was killed because of the 2 billion, you know? And I think we were the first ones before News 24 to say Mpho was killed because of the chemical toilets tender. The mayor took me to court for certain issues. The municipality took me to court. They withdrew their case a day before. And I must thank the former city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, because I called them, like, I've been taken to court for speaking the truth. And she was like, you know what, I don't know about this. Something might have happened with the
Okay, so before we get there, I want to go from you realize, at one moment you realize something is wrong. At this point, had you spoken to the CIO already? Or is this the moment where you say something is going on with the CIO, with the 2 billion and the 1.8? Where do you realize something is off?
So I realize it when I see the executives on TV to say that no, Mpho has been killed for investigating 2 billion. You know? And already the CIO has pointed me in certain direction to say, no, this is what's happening. Here's my affidavits. Here's everything. But Mpho was working on this. Not related to my issue.
Yes.
Not related to my issue.
Indeed.
And then there's this whole narrative that Mpho was investigating the CIO. How? Because Mpho has only been in Ekurhuleni for like 3 months, you know? And then now I say, no, the dots are not connecting here. Something is very suspicious. And then I showed to my TV one day, I see executive equivalent to say, no, Mpho was killed because I was investigating 2 billion, which now ties back to the CIO, Moloko Munyapao. Then I realized, no.
Your senses as an investigator, as a journalist, were like,
you know? So I then started calling the CIO, but he doesn't pick up. Then I realized, maybe he's getting numerous calls.
Of course.
Yeah. So I was like, no, you know, and it's a black professional. We must understand him. You know, you can't always want to break news at the expense of someone's career and someone's life. He's got a family, he must think of his family. I then called my source at the municipality to say, guys, just tell me, was this Mpho investigating this issue? They say, no, there is no such a thing.
They're not connected.
They're not connected in any way. And I said, aha. And we must thank some of our sources in the audit.
So they point you in the direction of the chemical toilets tender. Okay, yes. Tell me about that tender.
Look, wherever there's an informal settlement, there has to be some form of toilets that you give to the people while you're going to build permanent structures for them with regards to sanitation, and so they can have proper, decent housing and proper toilets, you know? So it's big business. It's like the water tanker mafia that we hear about. It's very big business, you know?
So it's amazing how people can make money off of the incompetence of our government to actually provide basic housing.
And then we must realize that
basic services.
And we must understand that maybe our government is doing it deliberately.
Yes, because there are people who make money from it. They make money from it.
And who makes money from it? We must be honest. It's the politicians who make money from it. It's the politicians who we vote for into office to say, please change the living conditions of our people. That you don't change the living conditions of people. No,
you just create temporary things that you have to keep upgrading and keep servicing, and that way you make money.
And who gets to lose out? It's us as taxpayers. It's us as ratepayers of the city. You know, so the chemical toilets is a tender with 1.8 billion, which has been given to 23 to 28 companies, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
Which has been divided amongst them. And we know who those companies are. You know, those companies belong to politicians. They belong to councillors. You know, they belong to high-profile individuals that we won't name here because we'll be taken to court. You'll be the first respondent in court.
You see now, I also cannot be compromised.
So
it's a 1.8 million rand tender that has been given billion that has been shared amongst 23 to 28 companies. What is irregular about it?
No, the procurement process of those.
What happened with the procurement process?
So, if you check some of the documents, the pricing of those documents, some of the companies have been excluded. Why have they been excluded? You know, so the other companies say, why have you been excluded here? We've given you everything. but some of these companies did not even qualify. So Paul raised those issues. These companies don't deserve to get this. The companies have been doing this for many years, you know, and now they've been given these things. And we know about companies who get registered today.
And then tomorrow they have a tender.
Tomorrow they've got a tender. The following day they've been paid. Then the following day, that companies, the money's been split around. Nobody.
Okay. So is this what's happening with this?
No, there
with
are
this
companies
tender?
that do qualify.
Yes.
There are companies that deserve to get those tenders, but there are companies which are very suspicious, and the way they got those tenders are very suspicious. And some of them do not have the expertise.
They're not connected to that industry at all.
You can't take a media company and say, no, go to chemical toilets. Well, you're a media person. Now you want to involve me in chemical toilets. What do I know about chemical toilets? I'm a media person.
Exactly.
Give me a media deal. Yeah, give me PR.
Then we can be talking.
Then we can talk. But you can't give someone who does not know anything about chemical toilets, and then you leave companies that do know, and then you expect people to be quiet about that. And I'm telling you, this thing is going to blow up. It's going to blow up. A lot of people are going to ban. A lot of companies are going to ban. It's going to connect to a lot of dots, of which I don't know if we're ready for those to come out. But yeah,
I think we're ready. I think we've seen a lot already with what is happening with the ad hoc committee and Madlanga Commission. That I think we're ready.
Yeah.
I think at this point we're not going to be shocked.
And I think if you know, after Mpho's death, a lot of employees of Ekurhuleni were even scared to go to work.
Really?
Yeah, there was that fear that we can't go to work. I know for a whole week
people cannot do their jobs anymore.
I know for a week people were not going to work.
That is terrible.
That was scared, you know?
Like all he did was go to work and do his job.
And you guys employed him to say, please, you are the auditor, you must find corruption that happens. And you kill the poor guy for doing his job.
Okay, so he does this, so he discovers this, he presents this report. Who does he present the report to?
He presents it to his boss. He gives it to his boss. To say, this is what I've found. His
boss being
who's this guy? I forgot his name. I'll get it for you.
What is his position in
I think he's the head of the audit. Just above Mpho, if I'm not mistaken.
He does. I had his name just now. So he then presents that, and then he says, "Oh wow, thanks, great job."
Yeah. Then I think that report now gets given to the politicians to say, "There's this thing here. This thing is so jump about it." Mpho gets called into a meeting to say, "Chief, change this report." Mpho goes home and says, "No, I'm not going to change this."
No.
He now goes back, gives them the same reports. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to have my signature on something that I'm not part of, and I'm not going to allow myself to be part of this mess. I've given you the report. It's now up to what you guys do. And I think that's where the problem started from Mpho. Because, and we know of stories where black professionals get called in to say, you're going to change this. If you don't, you'll
It compromised
him. It compromises, yeah.
Do you think that they were, at this point, there were now actual threats to his life?
I don't think he was aware of that. But
so there was no direct threats to say, if you don't do something, then something's going to happen to you.
Yeah. Or which we might not know, because we can't speak.
Exactly.
Paul was part of that meeting. We can't speak for him, unfortunately. If they did threaten him.
Okay, so how soon after the presenting of this report and him refusing to change it?
A few days after.
A few days after
is
when he dies.
A few days after, Paul then dies. A few days after, Paul then dies. It's deep.
It is
a Netflix documentary, in fact. But then
I think we're going to have many documentaries about this time, because we are seeing a lot. I mean, over the years we have, but I think it's increasingly becoming very commonplace for whistleblowers or government employees simply doing their job and highlighting irregularities in a very common way that you could do anyway. And then the next day, in the next whatever, they're murdered, but also brutally so.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point that, I mean, I'm sure you've been following the Madlanga Commission, where we have witnesses who are afraid
to talk
on camera. To talk. I mean, I know with the one of the witnesses who was in a hidden place, they had to stop the questioning because he indicated that he did not feel safe in the moment of him actually testifying.
Look, I think South Africa finds itself in a very sad place. I think we've become a mafia state, and we must be honest about that. You know, you can't get killed for doing your job, and then it's business as normal. And 1.8 billion gets awarded to companies that essentially don't qualify, and then your life is gone just like that. But that's the story of whistleblowing in South Africa. Whistleblowers in South Africa are not respected; they're killed.
And there does not seem to be any kind of anything in place to protect them.
And if you now Google 2 billion missing Ekurhuleni, it's the face of a black professional.
Yes.
Who is now being made a face of something
that
doesn't.
So where does it stand now? Where does the CIO stand now?
Look, I think the CIO is still suspended. He's still suspended. I think his matter has cleared in court. But I think if justice is to prevail, I think the CEO must just go back to work.
Yes.
The guy must just go back to work. He unraveled this corruption. He's essentially a whistleblower with regards to the revenue shortfalls in Ekurhuleni. You want to make the same guy that told you that, guys, there's this issue. You want to make that guy the face of corruption. It's wrong, and we must not shy away from saying that the CEO is used as a scapegoat.
Yes.
But now if you Google his name, it's corruption. It's corruption. Even if he has to say that, no, what, let me resign from the city. I'm fine. I've got my qualification. I can go look for jobs. You Google his name, you're gonna find those things.
That's the first thing that comes.
You won't hire him. And that's a question
out.
we need to have as journalists to say. Now we've realized that the CIO is not involved in this. News 24 agrees with us. We say now, no. Paul was killed because of this. Not 2 billion. Now, are those articles that all those media platforms have written about the CIO?
Are they going to be deleted?
Are they going to be deleted?
No,
they won't. And that's the sad part that we now as journalists have to ask ourselves, that we push this narrative about a black professional. We now understand that it's not true. Now, what form of remedy does that CIO now have?
And we had a very interesting conversation here with Pumlani a few weeks ago. Around the media and a lot of these issues. I think you can see even now, from the moment that Mkhwanazi did speak about certain journalists having access to information that is classified, reports that are classified within police structures showing up in the media. And he alluded to certain journalists that are compromised. The moment that happens, we have seen a change in the tide of the way they are speaking about Mkhwanazi.
Yeah.
Every day there's something wrong with that man. They are linking him to this. They are portraying him in a very particular way to kind of get the public to lose trust
in him.
I
think it's a smear campaign.
Definitely.
We must call it what it is. It's a smear campaign targeting someone who's essentially tried to save the country, who said, guys, there's this thing. You guys will decide for yourselves what you guys think. But there's this thing. This is the evidence that I have. But I can come to the portfolio committee. I can present my side. You can call the other side. And we've seen that, yes, as Mkhwanazi
no, listen.
He's given us a lot. He's on point.
And he backs everything up.
But when it comes to embattled journalists, even in Ekurhuleni, there are journalists who have been captured by the municipality who get booked in to Radisson Blue Hotel in Kempton Park.
For what reason?
To now say we are going to now deal. They call you to a meeting to say, no, we want 5 journalists. We're going to work together now. We're going to work for us as the city. We must get information, for example, about Vuyani Pambo. Then we must hit Vuyani Pambo every week. We must go for Vuyani every week. That's what happens. We won't mention names, but they know. They get booked into Radisson Blue in Kempton Park.
So the situation that we saw with, who is this IDT... board member who was caught on camera approaching a journalist.
Yes.
That is a common thing that happens, and that there are journalists who agree to be compromised in that sense.
No, it's a common thing, and that's why I did tweet something the following days that journalists who are living above their means. But let's all go for
lifestyle audits.
Let's all go for lifestyle audits. Let's see that those are going to hide even editors of newspapers. Indeed. Let's all go for lifestyle audits and see. There are journalists who are owning houses here in Sentin. Don't know how they own those houses, and those things we have to talk about as a country, But yeah.
But then on the other side, journalists like you who are intent on going within to uncover a lot of these things that are happening and taking risks. You're speaking about having been taken to court.
Yeah, look, I'm probably in court every 6 months. out of 10 cases, I'll probably win 7, lose 3. It's part of the nature.
So in relation to going back to the case of Mpho Mafole, when you release your findings, or you are steadily releasing your investigations, who is the first person who says, Chief, stop, or says, no, you're implicating us, we're taking you to court?
Look, I was in court recently with the mayor of Ekurhuleni. He won his case separately. But a few months before that, I was with him in a hotel in Waterfall, where the mayor of Ekurhuleni called me to a meeting.
Let's name the mayor. Who's the mayor of Ekurhuleni?
The mayor is Karaza, Dr. Karaza. It's the mayor. I mean, even after he won his court.
What party is that?
It's from the ANC.
ANC.
Yeah, even after he won his court, the defamation. Case
so it was defamation in relation to implicating them in this.
And what I did, I simply released a screenshot of the mayor sending a message to the CIO to say so what? Okay, let me do this. The mayor has an interview on 702, speaking about the 2 billion and implicating the CIO. The CIO sends him a message to say, "But Chief, you are lying about me, and you're putting my life in danger." And then after that, the mayor sends him a message, sends the CIO a message to say, "Get that Modiba off my back." What does that mean? When people are being killed in Ekurhuleni, you are saying, "Get that boy off my back." I then released that thing to say, if anything happens to me, you must know. Did I lose the court? Did I lose the case in court? I lost it. It's fine. But is my life been saved or something? I don't know. God will decide. And I don't want to talk about that because the courts have ruled I can't discuss that. Which is fine. But then to go back to the court case, I have a meeting with Karaza. And I said to Karaza in that meeting, no, let's work together, man. Let's work together.
If you're saying there's nothing going on,
yes, let's work
then be open.
Then I said, Mayor, I respect you. And we were some of the people who thought that Karaza will come and change the city. Some of us were pushing for Karaza to come there. We thought this guy would be different to the different mayors that we had. But now we're realizing that he might be worse. He might be worse. And that's fine.
But I mean, it's a party that we all know. I mean, everywhere they're involved in this.
In that meeting, I say, look, Chief, I don't have a problem with working with you. And working with you does not mean that I'm going to keep quiet about the corruption that happens in Ekurhuleni.
Indeed.
It means that if you've got a good story to tell, I must tell it.
Yes.
And I think that's why we started our platform with the inside factor, because we realize that the face of corruption is always black people, and government does not tell the stories properly. So if as much as we expose corruption, but we must be the first one to say, government, you've done a good job here, and we must make noise about that. So I said, if that's the case, I'm also from Ekurhuleni. I want to see my city grow, but this thing that's happened to say, it's wrong. And that you'll never change my mind about that. I'm going to go to the grave knowing that the CEO of Ekurhuleni is clean. Here's the evidence. And funny enough, if you are saying that 2 billion is missing from Ekurhuleni, where's the SIU? Where's the SIU not investigating
that? Yes, indeed. Is there a case number?
There's no case number. Instead, there are cases against high-level executives in Ekurhuleni that are sitting in the Hawks. Hawks are not doing anything about those cases.
And what has the mayor said about these cases?
You can go and ask the mayor for yourself. I don't want to be taken to court anymore.
You're tired of being in court. The man is tired. So the mayor takes you to court. Has anyone else spoken to you about, in a threatening manner or in a questioning manner, around you covering this case?
Look, we were followed around. I know I'm followed around. I've picked that up. I know they've tried hacking my phone numerous times. Threats do come there and there, but I mean, we came into, for the moment we came into this to this world, we're not safe. So why must now we be safe to expose corruption that happens in your city? And that we must never shy away from. If it means that we have to lose our lives to speak the truth, we must do that. We must. And some of us are the crazy ones, Some of us, I always say that in every generation, you need those crazy ones who don't listen. Who don't listen. When you say A, they say B. So you need those ones.
You do indeed. I mean, I think that is part of the revolution. That is part of, I think, recognizing, I think particularly where we're at in realizing how much of our state has been infiltrated and how much of our country is, as you said, a mafia state, and how much of what belongs to us has been sold piece by piece to people for money
true.
in out of just utter greed and the desire for opulence and a lifestyle, leaving not just people more poorer, but also leaving us very compromised, very, very unsafe, and very compromised as South Africans in a state where nobody feels safe at all. So I can imagine on the level of where you work, how much more unsafe you must feel.
And you know, I always say that, you know, if there's one person that I'm worried about the safety, is the CIO, not me.
What is he saying now?
Look, I think the guy is just demoralized, if I could say that. He's like, you know what, if I must be used as a scapegoat for this, I'll be used as a scapegoat. But I think he'll continue fighting. You know,
and his case right now is fighting his suspension.
Yeah, he's fighting his suspension in court. So I think that's those sub judice. I must just follow up with that. How far is it? But I know that he essentially is going to get frustrated. He's going to get frustrated there. They're frustrating him. They just want him to get rid of him and just to make sure that he spends all his money on court cases. They're going to drag, they want to appeal, and then eventually he's going to lose everything. But I mean, you know, he went for this job. He's a man. He'll see what he does. But if there's anyone that must fear for his life, it's him. You know, if they can kill him poor like that, and if they can kill other people in supply chain.
And what
about the CIO? What about the CIO of Ekurhuleni? You know, but his story needs to be told, and people need to realize that you can't continue making Black professionals the face of corruption.
And it's interesting. You've mentioned this severally about Black professionals being made to be the face of corruption. What is the real face of corruption in South Africa?
It's white monopoly capital. It's white monopoly capital, but white monopoly capital is clever. They own the media.
Indeed.
They own the media. You know, I was look at what our brothers did in Tembisa Hospital. None of them.
If we look at the companies and everyone who was benefiting from that, white, Indian, you know, mostly.
Go to Tembisa Hospital. The biggest beneficiary of Tembisa Hospital is Indians.
Yes.
But nobody will talk about that, you know. But corruption is corruption. It must not mean that we protect our Black brothers.
No. We're not saying it's okay.
It's okay, because even them, they didn't do anything. They bought Vianos. They bought cars, they bought expensive cars.
But indeed, I mean, even the way the media reports around corruption and who they link and who they speak about and who they don't speak about.
It's telling.
It's very telling.
It's very telling, you know. And we know of numerous companies that you find that do corruption in government are white-owned companies, but then they are hiding behind black faces. They've got proxies. You know, there was a case that I'm currently investigating where a domestic worker, a young domestic worker, 34, 35, she does not know she's a CEO of a company. She realizes now that, yo, man, my name is somewhere there, you know. So her bosses took her ID, they registered a company,
and then they used that.
Then, you know, how many cases are like that of our mothers who died not knowing that they're sitting with companies the JSE.
Their net worth is in the billions.
Exactly, you know. And it's a story that it's something that we need to probe. It's something that we need to probe. And I think if we had a proper state security,
indeed,
and a proper intelligence,
which we're realizing we don't, or at least what we have is not serving the purpose that it needs to serve.
No. I think state security gets used to it's an ANC machinery. It gets used to destroy each other. To say, no, go get information about
exactly.
That's what they use state security for.
And it was interesting because I had a conversation with Gogo Aubrey Machikli 2 weeks ago, and you know, he was talking about how there is no crime intelligence, particularly ever since that it has been put in the office of the presidency. But I think in reflecting on that, it is not that it doesn't exist. It's about who is it serving. Yeah. Look,
I do know that the current minister, I just forgot her name, Nchaveni, she is trying to somewhat get rid of the rogue elements within state security. But you know, as a politician, you won't fight spies, essentially. You're not going to fight spies. They know a lot. So I think she's trying. We must give her the benefit of the doubt. We must see how far she can go with that. But it's going to be it's going to be something that's going to essentially it's going to need a revolution.
Yes.
Yeah, essentially it's going to need a revolution.
And when you're looking at the progress that we're making now in the current investigations being done by the Commission and the ad hoc committee in Parliament, are we going to get to the bottom of what is really happening in our state?
I think we'll get a clue, we'll get a sense. But even if we don't get it, we don't get to the bottom of it. We now know that
We have enough.
Yeah, we have enough. We now know this is what's happening. We've connected the dots. I think it will be up to society to say, what do you guys do now? You've seen this. What do you guys do with this?
What do you think people should be like right now?
We should be on the streets,
right?
Yeah, we should be on the streets.
Yes.
We should be bending tires. You know, we should be shutting down
the country.
Yeah, we should be shutting down the country until something happens. In a normal society,
no.
Yeah, in a normal society, this wouldn't be normal.
We've seen it in Nepal. They were burning their ministers and throwing them in rivers. Yes. We've been seeing it in is it Madagascar or Malaysia? In Madagascar, they toppled their prime minister and said none of this anymore. And a lot of it still relates to the nature in which the political elite has enriched themselves. And like we were saying earlier, and compromised us. But like looking at the gaps of inequality that exist in our countries, and in the countries where this kind of action is taking place, and you're seeing ministers who are living large, you are seeing government people, you know, and the people are suffering.
Even
they said no.
Even councillors.
And this is the thing, right? It has gotten down to every single level.
Yeah, even councillors.
Of any kind of governance.
Even councillors. You know, you find councillors who every month they collect 100,000 from different service providers.
Do people know how much 100,000 rand is?
Hey, I wish I had that money, man.
Do you know that in South Africa, if you earn 15,000 rand or more, you are in the top 10% of earners in this country. Yeah. Which means the majority of the people who actually work in this country do not smell that kind of 100,000 ever in their lives.
Lifetime. Yeah, they'll never even smell it in their lifetime. Yeah.
The people that are struggling and unemployed get 350 rand. But people are in these situations where which is why I suppose they resort to actually murdering people for 1.8 billion rand just not to be found out.
We've allowed greed to come into our society, you know, and we've allowed mafias and gangsters to hide behind a business, to say they're business people. You know, you can't be a business person, but you are killing each other for 1.8 billion, and no, you're a thug, you're a criminal.
Yes,
and you must call that. You're not a tenderpreneur.
No.
The tenderpreneurs who they say deliver this, they deliver. And then you get thugs who hide behind tenders, who hide behind business, and But I think we've allowed that. We can't blame anyone.
We do. Yeah. Do you think to an extent even the tender system is itself a problem?
You know? But I think it's something that we've allowed as citizens. It's something that we've allowed. You know, in South Africa, I always say that South Africans, with everything that's happening, we could shut down this country every month.
Yes.
With all that's happening in this country.
It's one thing after the other. Maybe we've been desensitized, do you think?
Yeah, I think we have. But I think, one day there's going to be a revolution. There's going to be a revolution. And the sad thing is it might be an unled revolution. It's coming. It's coming. You know, the youth, there's a time-ticking bomb. You know, eventually it's going to snap.
Yes.
It just needs a push. But eventually it's going to snap and hell is going to break loose and nobody's going to be safe. Me and you are not going to be safe because
let it burn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not. That was in my personal capacity. But just going back, I think to the city of Ekurhuleni, what is the way forward?
Look, I think the way forward there is that the city needs to have an honest conversation amongst itself to say that what are the challenges here, and I think maybe the city of Ekurhuleni needs its own commission. Yeah, the city of Ekurhuleni needs its own commission where people come present their evidence. The CIO must come present his evidence. Everyone must now come its evidence in full view of the cameras.
Do you think all of the political parties within there are compromised, or because we are in the city of Ekurhuleni?
Look, I don't know.
I mean, what is your experience there?
I've interacted with look, let me say something. I'm from Davidton. There was a day that someone sends me something in Davidton to say that Mudibe, there's a state here. Please do something. I took that thing, I took it to Twitter. The CIC retweets it. The CIC sends it to Dunga.
Yes.
The following day, that thing was cleaned. And I think we must appreciate the EFF for doing that.
Definitely.
I see the Action SA is now pushing the issue of the 2 billion. They're speaking out about it, but it's going to need a collective. It's going
More
to need
of a collective effort.
I think the opposition parties there.
We need to come together.
And including the EFF, and I do know, even in the ANC, there are people who say, I'm China, this thing is wrong. But yeah, it needs an honest conversation amongst all the parties. And those in the executive, those who are in the executive must come together and discuss this and say, but guys, this is wrong. And if it means that the CIO must be called. The CIO must be called in a room with the mayor, with the city manager, with the
in a transparent manner.
With the opposition parties and with the EFF there. Then to say, present your case. Tell us what you found. Tell us what you think is wrong, and then let them decide.
Okay.
Let them decide.
So, just to go back now to the case of Paul Mafole, you've been following it. I know that there were arrests in a bit earlier.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, I think.
Yes.
Where does the case stand now?
I think they're still attending the court.
So both, I know there were two suspects. Have they both been arrested?
Yes, I think one is still on the run, I think.
One
is still on the run. Essentially, they must talk to say, hey, who gave the order? They must talk to say who gave the order, because that's just a hitman. The order comes from somewhere.
Indeed,
and
yes.
Then, but sometimes Nkabis don't talk until it's late.
Until it's late, and we have a big hitman problem. I mean, with the increase in corruption, there's now been an opened up industry.
But if you look at the
Inkabi.
we were following the Cindy Somakaka case.
Yes.
And we released an audio of the Nkabi of Cindy Somakaka, who's talking to the municipal manager, who gave him the hit.
Yes.
That guy saying, if you're not going to pay for my legal fees and stuff like that, I'm going to say to you. That guy confessed that it's the municipal manager. Now, the municipal manager got arrested a few weeks ago.
Yes, I remember.
So those things do happen. Hopefully, the Nkabis there will talk and say that
they have nothing to lose.
They've got nothing to lose. Yeah, but I think also the police must come. The police must go to those who said that it's the CIO. The police must go to those who said who tried doing their own investigation before the police actually did their job. And they must ask themselves, how did you know that this thing was tied here? Why the first day after Paul was killed?
Do you come and you say we know who killed him and why, and it's connected to this?
So what does that mean? You're trying to shift the direction. You're trying to shift the investigation. You're trying to.
And why would you do that?
You answer? But we'll see. I know for a fact that there are dockheads sitting at the Hawks offices of Ekrolin. They're not moving. No one is saying anything about that.
But we have seen that dockets don't mean anything in this country sometimes.
But it's not that I'm saying that the Hawks entirely are wrong. In the Hawks, there are factions. There are factions there's a faction who wants to work, and then there's a faction who just that's okay with getting 100,000 every month.
Yes, and we also have a compromised NPA as well.
True. Yeah.
That.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
I hope we find some justice for Mpo.
Yeah, true.
And I hope we find justice for many other
whistleblowers
and workers who find themselves in this situation.
I think Mpo will get his justice. Yeah, it's a matter of few weeks. Esmarashule used to say it's a matter of 5 years.
5 years.
With Mpo, it's a matter of 5 weeks.
Yes.
5 weeks, you're going to see things are going to unravel. Things are going to unravel. I do suspect we'll see more arrests. And I do suspect this whole 1.8 billion chemical toilet blowing up again.
Yes, it's going to come back to the fore.
Something big is going to happen, but will law enforcement do what law enforcement is supposed to do? And we'll see. But we'll keep a close eye on it. We'll keep a very close eye on it.
So we should check out the Inside Factor and follow you guys to see what's going to happen next.
We break news before anyone breaks it. You can ask News 24. We broke them for 3 months ahead.
I know. They're leading with it now these days.
Look, I mean, they've got the resources. And when we broke it, I mean, with all the things that are happening, why were we taken to court as black journalists?
But News 24
is not. And we must be honest, why? They're a white media platform. The city of Ekurhuleni won't dare take News 24 to court for talking about that. But they can take me and you, Mudibe, to court because they know you don't have resources.
Yes.
They will frustrate you there, they'll liquidate you there.
And intimidate you.
Let's see if Ekurhuleni is going to take News 24. If they take News 24 to court.
I've seen they did an investigation, they did a picture one, they did a podcast on it. They've been speaking about it quite consistently.
If they take them there, my sister, I'm coming back. I'm going to buy anything you want.
Really?
Yeah.
I should start thinking, it's not going to happen. So I won't get my hopes up.
So yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
thank
But then
you.
we'll see. I hope Paul gets justice. I do know he's going to get justice. I hope the CIO of the Ekurhuleni municipality,
Yes, indeed, also gets
I
justice.
think Moloko Munyapao. I hope he gets justice. But yeah, we'll see.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for the work that you're doing.
No, thanks very much.
We look forward to maybe when justice happens, we'll bring you back to discuss.
And thank you too.
What's going on.
Thank you too for the invite. I think you're doing a very important job. We need to tell our own stories as Black people, and we need to unite.
Definitely.
Yeah, we need to unite. Apart from politics, but we're all Black people, and we must come together when we have to save our country from vultures.
It's the only one we have.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. You heard it from Mudiba. And let's keep watching the case of Poma Faule and hope that justice happens for him. Thank you.